Welcome back to Maximum News, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the mics finally fixed here. I'm your host, as always, your friendly neighborhood Simpsons kin, Maximilian Danger Derrat, and joining me as always, sitting to my immediate left, right, center, front and back, because I got that 3D audio, is Sybsidian of the Triple S League. How you doing, dude?
Good. I'm doing fine. Things are pretty bad out here in the West. You might have heard about the endless fires that we are currently experiencing, and if not the endless fires, then just the general insanity.
Aside from the smoke, is it looking like it's going to pose any direct threat to you?
I want to say no, but then I'm worried that I'm going to be proven wrong.
Right.
So
don't want to jinx it.
Don't want to jinx it. It's not great at the moment. Things are not good in a couple of different scenarios. But
let's hope the next few days. Well, I don't know what the weather forecast is, but I hope that like the next few days for you guys will be like it has been either the last day or the day before, where you guys got a whole bunch of rain, which apparently helped out a good amount. So yeah. To people who don't know much about Canada, Syb lives out west, where like I live in the province of Ontario, which is closer to the east coast of Canada. He lives closer to the west, and there's a whole bunch of forest fires going on.
Raging fires all over British Columbia, Yukon, mostly Alberta, and a little bit of into Saskatchewan, what's this place called? Manitoba. There we go.
Yes.
The place where the cold is so very, very cold all the time in the winter. That is. In the summertime, it gets really, really warm.
Manitoba, you mean?
Manitoba, yeah.
Oh.
Winnipeg is like one of the coldest places on the planet at times.
Yeah. I wouldn't know. I've never been out. You know what's so weird? I've never been to another province in Canada outside of Ontario. Never. Like I'd love to go to British Columbia, and I'd love to see the plains one day in Saskatchewan. I'd love to, go to Nova Scotia because I hear it's beautiful there. But yeah, just never went. Wasn't bothered. Anyways, you guys aren't here to hear us talk about topography and crap. You're here to hear us talk about video games and not the real world, because video games are an escape from the real world. And as I say that, I'm immediately going to be bringing people back to the real world with our first story here. But this is just going to be a quick thing because, you're all here to hear us talk about the PlayStation Showcase. And we're going to get to that, but we just got a few smaller stories to get through very, very quick. So, Syb, Activision Blizzard, that whole UK fiasco is over?
It's, it's UK is still a bit of a fiasco, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens there. Okay. We know that companies are willing to just not deal in a single country, like with all these loot boxes. You have a lot of this loot box controversy, a lot of issues with that, and yet for some odd reason, companies will I don't know why they do this, but some companies will actively just not deal with a country, just like pull their games out, ban everybody from accessing their platform in a country when it prevents them from making money on a much larger scale. Like, with the loot boxes, it's like you can't play some games in certain countries that have banned loot boxes because it's more profitable for the company to shovel that garbage down everybody else's throat all around all around the world than to have that. That's why we really, really, really need just universally loot boxes should be banned. Like they are predatory against children. They're predatory against people with gambling addiction.
Kudos to Belgium. Kudos to Netherlands. I think they did it as well. Yeah.
And not that, and again, I've said this a couple times. I am not singing the praises of the Microsoft at every turn. Microsoft is improving under the leadership change that they had in the past. 10 years ago, I think it was like 10 years ago. I think 10 years ago today.
Yeah.
that the Xbox was unveiled, and the guy stood up on stage, took out a knife, and started to stab himself in the stomach repeatedly. Obviously that's an exaggeration, but it's like we want this to be our home entertainment system. We want you to watch movies on this, because DVD players don't cost $35 right now at Walmart. It's like,
what about the games? Shh.
There's what games? You don't want games. You want interactive camera spying. Remember when they all came with that?
The Kinect.
The Kinect, and it's like it's gonna watch and listen to you all the time, and we're not gathering that information for anything in particular. It's just it was a lunatic's business proposition of like, let's take this platform that's the biggest in the world right now, it's doing so well, and let's pull the focus off of video games. Let's just make every developer who's making a game for our program, let's make their lives so miserable that the majority of the games that we have lined up for the first initial wave just gets completely dumped, just completely annihilated. And let's do that, because that's a great idea.
Yeah, we were king in the last console. Well, aside from the Wii, obviously, but between the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation, the Xbox 360 was the clear winner because for the longest period of time, they had the best games and the most enjoyable games that people wanted to play. And then, what's their strategy for the Xbox One? Do the exact opposite of that. Yeah. And like you said, they have been doing better, Microsoft and Xbox, over the last little while. Mm-hmm. Phil Spencer has pulled Xbox from the brink over the last 10 years. And it's not like they have been
the
without
complete
faults.
Brink of destruction.
And it's not like they haven't had without fault. Like most recently, Redfall was a big disappointment. But considering where they were and the fact that they should be dead now because PlayStation 4 almost had, like, they virtually were in the grave and they just managed to crawl out before they filled out the damn thing. It's impressive where they are right now, and hopefully,
it's not to say that they are the solution. That this is the solution. The solution to the gaming industry right now is a mix of what it's always been: indie studios and studios that do things slightly different. Larian is a great example of this, and I know we've had this discussion, before with Cyberpunk. I was reminiscing with Neon just recently about the whole catastrophe that was Cyberpunk, and it's like we had no reason to suspect the stupidity that would unravel there. Right. With what happened, we didn't, like, everybody, like, nobody looked at The Witcher 3 and said, oh yeah, they're gonna just completely bomb their next project. And again, it's like there's no studio that's immune to this, because anytime you get power to the head, anytime you get this idea that you're better than, the plebs, that better than the fans, that better than, whatever reason it is. Anytime you start thinking that, you're going to end up, shooting yourself in the foot. And that's just the way that it's going to be. Yeah. And so, this is a huge problem that affects everybody. It really does affect everybody. It affects every studio. It affects every possible person in game development. So what's the fix for that? Well, always new blood, because new blood fixes those problems. When you have a problem with a studio that doesn't learn from its mistakes, new blood sorts that out real quick. Losing your entire company sorts that out real quick, gets rid of all the bad people. As long as there's not a failure system upward, and big giant corporations don't do that. But in this case, the only way that you're going to get Bobby Kotick out of Blizzard is for one of two things to happen. And that is for the entire games industry and his studio, his kingdom, to completely implode, in which case everybody dies from that position. Not obviously dies, but everybody gets, that studio dies, everybody that works there gets fired, everybody has to pick up the pieces of their life and just start anew. Or a bigger fish comes along, gobbles it up. Hopefully Bobby gets kicked to the curb. We'll see if that happens, or if he gets just some kind of position that's some kind of position where it's like a / gold parachute. He keeps showing up to stuff, but nobody listens to him, which I think is a you know, that happens in a lot of companies, and that's fine when you have somebody who just doesn't know when to like quit, right? Like that's like you don't know the thing, you don't know your product anymore, you don't know your clientele, your base, your customers, nothing. So
well, they might know their investors, but not their customers or their consumers, like
exactly.
Mr. Kotick. Yeah. So, but in regards to the whole Activision Blizzard buyout.
Yeah. So in the latest news, China and the EU have both agreed to the without stipulation, as far as China goes, without stipulation at all. And the EU basically said, yeah, just make sure that, you know, if you're doing games, streaming games, that, which is again such a weird thing to focus on, and it shows you that these politicians know nothing about what is going on in this industry. But yeah, just make sure that your indie games can be, or sorry, your streaming games can be played by multiple studios, or sorry, multiple platforms, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's the thing that they said. But China making no attempts to control or anything, that's kind of interesting. Raises a little bit of eyebrows, just a little, not obviously huge, but it does raise a couple eyebrows, going, that's weird that they had no stipulations, no demands at all. Like, seems kind of weird, but at the same time, it's like, well, that's just maybe how they're rolling right now, so that's fine.
Oh wait, banning all games from our economies and doing really great game busters for us. Okay, maybe we should just let this thing go through. Make sure Mr. Xi Jinping doesn't know about this. Yeah. Hopefully. Well,
they have to have, so they do have to have like a local company that kind of hires in and then brings in like certain, you know, members of the party, you know, air quotes, to oversee stuff. So it's like they probably want more success there anyway. So it's like in that sense, they probably did the right thing, you know, air quotes. But again, it's just kind of weird.
Dr. Evil.
I know. It's a super bizarre thing to say. It's like, well, technically they did the right thing. It's like, why? What? Like, weird. So yeah, it's a little on the bizarre side, but it works. It's working right now, and this basically means that the UK might be on the outs, like legitimately. They might not have access to, you know, they'll have access to Steam and to PlayStation and Nintendo maybe, but we'll see. It'll be really interesting to see where that goes. But no, with this latest news, this basically confirms that Microsoft Activision deal is basically set in stone.
Good.
We were really worried that if the domino fell, you know, the EU said no, you know, following Britain's example, and then China threw in a bunch of demands for, well, you got to do this, and jump through these 20 different hoops, then the deal was probably going to be dead. But because they don't have any like strong opposition at this point, it's looking seriously like this is going to be moving forward like with all steam. So
good. And let's just put this behind us. I'm tired about hearing about all the backdoor legal dealings regarding this whole thing. Let's just get it over and done with. Let Microsoft come in there and try to clean up house as best as they can, to whatever degree
they have a lot to clean up.
Yeah.
Like, let's face this. This is Blizzard Activision is an absolute gong show right now, and we'll just transition to this story.
Yeah.
Overwatch 2 PVE is now dead. You remember when they relaunched Overwatch into Overwatch 2, and they said, hey, we're doing this, and this is going to be this thing. We're going to be taking away the way that you earn champions and skins, and we're going to be remodeling it for X, Y, and Z, and you're just going to be so happy that this is being done, and you can't wait to... Yeah, turns out, all for nothing. Yeah. Literally, all for nothing. There's supposedly some campaign stories coming at some point, but they gave no time frame for it. They gave no guarantee that they were coming. They just said, oh yeah, we've got some stuff coming. Well, what does some stuff mean? Is it going to be a lot of stuff? Is it going to be like nothing? Is it going to be, you know, what's it going to be? What are we looking at? What is this? process going to look
Can you
like?
stop clicking on your mouse?
Oh,
Please?
sorry.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
I'm going through the story here, and it's really upsetting for a lot of people. You had hold on here. I got to get his name because he
It's
just
okay.
nailed it. Samito. So Samito put out a video going, he just roasted them. Like, he roasted them hardcore. Asmongold's been roasting them. These videos, these reactions it's really bad. Like, they've got some really negative press here from this. And it's all, I don't want to say it's like deserved, but it's all true. Like, what they did to how you earned stuff, they made it far more of a microtransaction-y thing than it was before.
Yeah.
You're now spending on average more, and then you're unless you're buying that battle pass, certain champions are basically locked out for you during a whole season. And if they're locked out for you for the whole season, you're basically, you're up a creek without a paddle when that champion is the primary winner for games in that season, right?
Yeah, isn't Ramatra the one that's hidden behind the battle pass, if I recall correctly? Yeah, and they're literally the best tank right now. It's ridiculous.
And it's winning games. Well, you can't, so if you don't have the ability to like understand the play style, because like you don't have to master a champion, all you have to do is play it a little bit to understand how it works, to understand how the cooldowns and how you want to engage, that kind of stuff. The same in League of Legends. I played when I was doing League of Legends, like somewhat sort of competitively, just going through ranks and tiers and stuff like that. It's like you had to play certain champions to know how your counter played. Not to the point where like you knew it backwards and forwards like perfectly, because then you could just play that champion. But you just had to you had to figure things out, right? Well, you can't do that anymore, and that's the problem. That's where there's some serious issues coming.
Yeah. What was I just about to say? The PVE element, was it? When was this announced? Do you recall? Like, and why do you think, like, with all the time that they've had to work on it, what is sort of getting in the way of them being able to provide it? Like, why are they canceling it? Like, what is it that's calling their attention right now that is so much more important that they can't focus on the PVE stuff?
Bad design, like bad game design, like this. So Samito, and again, I apologize if I'm like pronouncing his name completely wrong, but he made this point. I believe it was him who made this point, that they're trying to build a talent system for all of their heroes. Like, that was insane. What are you doing? You're trying to build 3 pages of like 80 some odd talents for all of those characters? Are you insane? Do you crawl on glass for fun? What is wrong with you? First of all, the characters are the heroes. All of the heroes, they're already like, scoped into a certain power level.
Yeah.
So by trying to add all of those skills, you either have to like take them down a whole bunch of notches at first, then give them that talent pool to then fill them back up to be slightly above where they're at currently. But that just opens a whole slew of balancing problems.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing about the original Overwatch. Like, for all, for the original Overwatch was as beloved as it was because it was crystal clear, perfect balancing. And if you're going to try and add in stuff like that, like you said, you have to either build up to where they are now, which would be stupid, or build up to a higher level while also, not being overpowered and maintaining the core gameplay flow, or just redoing the talent tree entirely and making them into a completely different character. And what's the point?
Yeah. So this is where I have to point out that the developers behind this don't know what they're doing. And I don't mean that as as much of an insult as it sounds.
It's more a statement of fact.
It's a statement of fact in that, look, guys, you designed this game previously on one concept, right? On one perspective, on one goal. Jeff came in and he had a goal, he had a design. And in the early days, they did have like a talent system when it was still Project Titan. But that's all that was all changed now. It's not the same. It doesn't function the same anymore. So you have to then move outside the box that you have built for yourself. You have to move outside the box. You have this box, you have this idea, you have this concept that you're going to do X, Y, and Z for the PVE. And I can solve it for them. And again, Smito, I wasn't the first person to, like, obviously I would have given this advice to them at the same time, but other people have raised this point. Smito said that they should have just added a custom character, and that's the character in which you play the PvE content through as your primary character, and then you can recruit heroes who don't have a talent system that are just the talent. And so you have your main character that you're playing through the PvE campaign, and if you want, you can sub out other characters that you want to maybe unlock certain skins and stuff like that. But you're always forced in certain modes of the game to play a customized character where you pick a custom weapon, a custom style, you know, tank, beefy, bruiser, DPS, sniper, you know, support, whatever. And then you play with AI versions or other players in the PvE aspect of it to progress your character, to progress your account. That's what you do. That's how you solve that problem. And the fact that they beat their head against the wall for like 2-3+ years on this is like, how? I don't think you guys know what you're doing, because most people, most developers would have come up with that solution. They would have said, we can't possibly have this many characters and talents and pages and all this stuff. How do we get around this? Well, how about we knock it down to one? We give a character creation that's really flexible, that's really broad, and we bring out a ton of cosmetics for one character. I hate to say it, but that's a pretty genius way of approaching it. Again, I'm not the only person. I'm not saying that I'm brilliant here. So many other devs, so many people, so many fans had this idea. I was like, well, why don't you just, like, if that's too much to balance all these characters, why don't you just give us a custom-made character, and then we could just style the character as much as we want, and then you still include the heroes. It's like it writes itself. This isn't rocket science. This is basic, like, game 101. Create your character. And how they never got to that point, never said, hey, why don't we just scrap this idea of like making all this stuff for these other characters, just introduce a new character, and then we can write the story around the player's perspective of the universe. Right now, what they were trying to do is write the player's perspective of being every possible character that's already been released into the game world. And it's like, that's maddening. Also, as to why it's maddening is again, it's like, why would Reaper or Widowmaker be on the good side? Like, it just, right. It doesn't make any sense. But the thing that solves it entirely is giving you this neutral new character that arrives and is like, hey, I'm here. I'm going to help the heroes, and I'm going to become a hero. And it's a hero's journey. And again, if you're not an egomaniac that thinks that your work can't possibly be, challenged in that way, then that's a perfect solution to a massive problem that you have.
Saves but again, a lot of time, makes a lot of people really happy.
Yeah, and open a lot of doors. Like, talk about the doors that it would have opened. Oh my goodness! Like, it's just, again, and it just writes itself, right? Like, it's just. It's a solution that so many other devs just kind of looked at and said, well, why don't you do this? Like, content creators, people who are, they're not developers, are just looking at the situation and go, well, why don't you just do this? But because they never involved anybody in that process other than their small little team and being given, and again, again, this isn't just the developer's fault. This is their leadership, obviously, going all the way to Bobby Kotick. Yeah. Because Bobby didn't... So, as I understand it, they lost like a significant amount of people on the Overwatch team over the last few years because of underpay and all the problems that Blizzard and Activision had. And when they went to rehire, Bobby gave them like half of the budget that they had before and said, well, you were working fine after all these people left. Just keep working with lesser resources and you can maybe hire a few replacements. Well, you can't do that, obviously. So again, it's not the devs' fault, period. It's the devs, it's their leadership, it's their team, it's everything that has gone into this scenario to make it insanely stupid.
Yeah. It's thankfully, though, as sad as the situation is, and it is making me feel sad because it reminds me so much of what my beloved Halo has gone through over the last couple of years. The bright side of it is that the game is free to play. You know, I've never spent a single dollar on Overwatch 2, and I'm able to enjoy the multiplayer as it is without spending a single dime. But so it lessens the impact in that regard. But I can totally understand for people that aren't like me, people that have been playing the games ever since, say, I think they released in 2016. I only started playing like 1 or 2 years ago. That they were really looking forward to this, and they wanted to see Overwatch evolve into the next big thing. And I don't know, maybe just Blizzard, by trying to set up the talent tree system, as you were explaining it their side, like their ambition and their heart was in the right place, but they flew too close to the sun, to use a common metaphor. And yeah, it's really sad. Hopefully this doesn't completely tank things. And hopefully Overwatch, like Halo, is able to make some sort of long-term comeback, but right now we're sort of in the dark in regards to both, and yeah, it's sad. All right, and just one more. we're just going to mention this. It's not technically gaming related, but it should be concerning to people that like, you know, people like you and I, Syb, that work on YouTube, and then we're going to get into the good stuff.
So this is an interesting story that came out of Japan. And I'm confused on it because the reporting on it hasn't been super clear. We don't know exactly what happened, but a YouTuber who posts, as I understand it, spoiler clips on his YouTube page has been arrested for posting spoiler clips on YouTube. Now, I had to look this up to figure out what exactly was going on here, and I don't know. But I seem to understand, and I could be wrong, so I'm not going to say for sure, that it wasn't spoiler, it was like a synopsis page. So, like, this guy makes a synopsis on stuff going on in particular video games, and my puppies are getting anxious. And so yeah, so if you spoil a game in Japan, you might be getting arrested.
What?
So that's very interesting, because there was a game that he was playing that he was posting like end bits of the game. And that's what got him, supposedly that's what got him arrested, is he was showing the end of the video game. But again, the question is like, so is he like just taking clips of the ending cinematic, and then tying that, because it was a game that also tied into an anime, and posting both the anime and the game stuff to like show stuff? Or was he like doing like what we do when we take apart a video game and say, this is what happened in it, X, Y, and Z? So yeah, very odd, very strange.
I'm looking at this right now. Who is this Yoshida guy? That he said, is he the guy that distributed the games? Yes, it is. Okay. Yeah. And he said he knew it was illegal because any use of gameplay videos requires permission from the rights. Oh my god. God. Well, yeah, it's legally, I suppose, and but that morally, come on. Like, Saib, I'm like everybody else. Nobody wants to be spoiled. Nobody wants to have like clips from a game they're really looking forward to passed around and having the ending spoiled. But should that be something that you're arrested over?
Exactly. And that's where my confusion looking at the story, I'm like, what is going on here? Is this just a spoiler thing, or is he posting like, he's posting like 25 minutes of the end of a movie, right? Like, is he doing that, right? Because you shouldn't do that. Just uploading like part 5 of 5 of X movie, 25-minute runtime.
Sure.
Of the ending and stuff. Like, don't do that. That's obviously that. But if you're having like a discussion on it, which is what it seemed to be, but because some of the videos were taken down, I couldn't tell exactly. So it's just very bizarre and very weird, and makes me really wonder, well, what exactly is going on here, because I'm a little confused.
Yeah, that's hopefully like whatever the deal is right here. If it is just him posting textual spoilers, sure, that makes you kind of a D-bag if you're just sharing them around willy-nilly. Like, it's fine, I suppose, if you somehow get a hold of them and you're just sharing them with your friends privately, because you're a fan of what Steins Gate? Yeah, that's an anime that people have been recommending to me for a while. But even then, like, even if you were to do something like that, is that something that requires you to be put in jail just because you spoil the ending of something? I don't know. Even I don't love a particular form of media that much that I would want somebody to get arrested if it were to be spoiled for me. Although, I don't know. Maybe if I found out what the ending of Endgame was going to be before I saw it. Yeah, that would have pissed me off. Or no, Infinity War would probably be more apt there. But that's the only example, and even then I'd still struggle to say that. Just that, we'll keep an eye on it, guys. All right, enough with the bad news. Let's start with the good news. Saib, it's the most wonderful time of the year for gamers. It's that period towards the end of May, the beginning of June, when all the major game developers, the publishers, come together. Well, it used to be at E3. Now it's just sort of like that period of time during the year when all the new games that are coming up are starting to be showcased. Right now, if I recall correctly, we have Summer Games Fest on June the 6th. And then Starfield showcases on the 9th, and then the Xbox showcases on the 11th. Do I have that right? Does that sound right?
Yeah, okay. It's a lot.
Yeah, nothing from Nintendo, from what I understand.
Not yet. They're always later in the year. Like, they're usually like a little bit later.
Yeah, and that's fine. They don't really have anything else going on right now, and they don't really need to because they're killing it with Zelda. But we were all wondering whether or not Sony was going to do something, and we sort of assumed that they were, but they hadn't announced anything until this past week. Guys, PlayStation Showcase, the first one since 2021, is happening this coming week on Wednesday, May the 24th at 4:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Saib, are we covering it? Like, are you doing a live stream of it?
Possibly.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. Like, so
okay,
with PlayStation, yeah. they have a bad habit of putting in a lot of stuff that's copyrighted. And there's a lot of trailers that are just straight up copyright struck off of YouTube. Like, I think they are one of the biggest problems of the industry when it comes to showcasing stuff, because there's a lot of trailers that the gaming company that makes the game is just like, no, you can't show this trailer on YouTube at all unless it's on our channel, period. How dare you? Yeah. So that's the kind of problems that we typically run into, and we have a lot of that. Whereas like Microsoft and some of the other studios, they're just like, we should like show what you want. We love you guys. Like, this is not a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to cover it in some capacity, guys. It's just a matter of whether or not we're going to be able to live stream on the day. If not, I'm going to see if I can try and do something on my end. Maybe not on my YouTube channel, but maybe on my Twitch or something. Or maybe I'll join somebody else and send you guys the link. Anyway, so we'll figure it out. What we wanted to do today for this particular show is just, do the thing that we fans like to do the most, which is speculate about what's going to show up and what might not show up during this showcase, what might be saved for Summer Games Fest, whatever. So I got a list of things here. So maybe I missed one or two things from here that, like, did you happen to notice anything that I left off this list of things to talk about?
Not no. Really.
Okay.
Because like it's either for all of the stuff that we know is coming cross-platform, I didn't think it was necessary to chit chat about it here when we have literally so many in most cases exclusives, but in a lot of cases it's like that timed exclusive where it's like, yeah, we're gonna get Death Stranding 2 onto PC because it's kind of obvious.
Yeah.
But other games like Spider-Man, any future Spider-Man stuff, I believe that is solidly locked in hard for the PlayStation.
Really? But we did get Spider-Man on PC.
Yeah, but like again, not like, didn't it take 2 years?
Okay, well, that's not really locked in solid then, right? Like, it just means it's going to be a long time before it comes.
Yeah. Well, that. Sorry. So I should specify. It's like, so they have the thing where it's like 6 months to a year, right? That's not so bad. It's the ones where it's like, yes, in 3 years or right before we put out the next game, and that's what really happened with Horizon. I think is that we didn't get Horizon on the PC until the second one was like months away from release, essentially. Yeah. And they used that to drum up interest in that one. And we still don't, I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, for the more popular.
Yeah, no, we do. The Horizon Forbidden West is not expected to hit PC for at least 2 to 3 years.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. It's more so for the more reliable IPs that they can keep on their system and make bank off of, that they're going to do that for. But for more experimental titles like Death Stranding 2, they do want to put it on PC as soon as possible so they can recoup their costs. And yeah, we're going to talk about that in a second. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're just going to run down, like, I put together a list of the games that people are suspecting might be there, theorizing, and Simon and I are just going to talk about, the chances of it showing up. Just before we start, there's no chance that GTA 6... I can't believe there are people that actually believe this. People are speculating, do you think that GTA 6 will get a PlayStation exclusive announcement? No, it's no snowball's chance in hell would that ever happen. There's just too much money for Rockstar to make by not having it be available on all the systems as soon as possible, including Xbox. So just put that out of your mind right now. But that's really just the main thing. Let's go through this list of like 13, 15 that I have here. So we're going to go in alphabetical order, okay? So one studio side that we know that Sony acquired a while back is Bluepoint. They are responsible for a lot of remasters and remakes. Most recently, the Shadow of the Colossus remake, or Light remake, and Demon's Souls, which I really loved. Although I found out this past week from a video that I did on my channel where I talked about Bluepoint that there are a lot of people that really don't like them for their reasons, but whatever. It's been almost 3 years since Demon's Souls came out, and it's about time, given the time of release between when Bluepoint releases their games, that we should hear about what they've got going on. Do you think that their new game will be at the showcase, and do you think it will be related to Metal Gear?
I don't know if it'll be related to Metal Gear. I feel Metal Gear will need to... I feel like only a fool would do a half-assed attempt at it. And I don't know if Bluepoint has the ability to do like something absolutely stunning. Like I'm sure they make games, right? Obviously, but do they make games that will absolutely wow? Which I think is the only way that you're going to have people be happy with this.
Yeah.
right? Like with a continuation, remaster, rebuild, remake, whatever, reforged, whatever, are they going to actually be able to pull it off? That is a very, very, very good question. And I have no idea whether I don't think they have that ability to do that at that level. I could be wrong.
I tend to agree with you when it comes to Metal Gear. Even though I would, like, if I found out on Wednesday that, yes, they're making a Metal Gear Solid 1 remake, I wouldn't be too pessimistic, because Blue Point, even though they are just mainly responsible for remakes and remasters, make no mistake, these guys, their team is comprised of industry veterans. These are people that really, really know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And if they did get it, I would be fine with it. But I would be very, very weary, because, and I'm not just saying this as the #1 Metal Gear Solid fan on the planet, which I am. I'm saying this just because of what Metal Gear Solid is. Trying to remake it, trying to change it up from the perfection that it originally was and make it as good, if not greater, for a modern audience. I don't think anybody really has that capacity. But, you know, it's not necessarily going to be a Metal Gear Solid. But from some of the rumors that I've been hearing, it's going to be a completely new game, and it's not even going to be a remake or a remaster. Mm-hmm. And for that reason, if that's what the case is it's a brand new game, I'll be excited for it, because, like I just said, people have been in the industry for a long time, very interested to see what they do by moving away from their bread and butter. But as for whether or not it shows up, I'm trying to think of a percentage right here. I'm going to say
like 25.
Yeah, 25, 30.
I wouldn't
a third.
Because again, it's a matter, it's a question of like capability, timing, all that kind of stuff. Do you want to be launching a brand new keystone product this year? Not unless you're a major studio. Now the way that the COVIDs and the, you know, everything that, all the fallout from that made it bottlenecked a lot of stuff. And now it's like, you know, it went from an 8-lane highway being diminished down to 2 lanes or 1 lane in most cases, to suddenly opening up all lanes super fast. Oh yeah, we also removed the speed limit because AI is here, and you can shortcut about 50% of the work that you're doing. So that means that 2023 to this year is going to be one of the biggest years for gaming ever. Oh, yeah. Probably will be one of the biggest games, one of the biggest years for gaming, period, that we will remember for probably the next couple of years to come, unless some crazy stuff with AI happens. What did I say? I looked this up the other day. 14 titles, 14 games are launching on the 25th or the 26th.
It'd be the 26th, right? Because that's Friday.
I can't see where did my notes about this go?
Yeah, what game is coming out on the 26th? Well, anyway.
Okay, sorry, the 25th. The 25th. On the 25th, there are 14 titles coming to PC alone. 14 titles. Some of these are huge titles. Others are like obviously smaller indie games. But 14 on one day. On one day. And then the next day, there's like 8 of them. And then the day before that, there's like 7. So it's like,
I'm really gonna get through 7 games in 1 year, for Christ's sake.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So again, it's like, yeah, we have obviously, we have some major things rolling here. But how exactly is that going to play out? Like, what exactly is that going to accomplish? What is that going to do? We don't really know yet. We have like this kind of like base idea, but we don't have this, like, we can't say for sure, what gaming is going to be like a year from now. But one thing we do know is that this year is going to be crazy. Yes. Like, this year is going to be absolutely crazy. And
it's already been one of the best years for gaming in recent memory. We're not even halfway through it yet. We still got to get to Alan Wake 2, Silent Hill 2 remake, Starfield, a couple other ones that I'm sure I'm missing out on. Final Fantasy 16. Yeah. Speaking of which, we're going to get to that in a second. But let's go through this. We got a pretty long list, and we're coming up on an hour. Death Stranding 2. We're going to see something. I would say, because of all the games that are on this list right now, I think Death Stranding 2 is one of the ones that's the furthest along in development. I don't know if we'll get like a release date or something, because you know, Kojima's also working on his other project for Xbox. In terms of it showing up, I give it like a 70 to 75% chance. Release date, probably not. It'll probably just be there to remind us, hey, we still got Kojima on board with us, guys. He's our boy, and we're gonna have exclusivity, even though it's only for 6 months. But you know, Hideo Kojima. What do you think, Sad?
Yeah, I think it's probably pretty likely. I definitely put this way above the 50-50 mark of it coming out within the next 12 months, because like it's not fair to say, you know, this year. You got to think about you know, between now and, you know, this time next year. That's kind of how the gaming schedules work. Mm-hmm. So is it going to come out? I think there's a good probability of it. But I also wouldn't be terribly shocked, like I said, 50-50 if it's going to come out 2025. Like,
nah, I wouldn't be that far.
I would hope not. I would hope not. But there's no guarantee, right?
My maximum, I would say, is probably it come out November of 2024, but it shouldn't take much longer than that. Like, we saw how far along they are with the Game Awards last year, and it's been almost half a year, so it's about time we see something new. Okay, Final Fantasy's. Let's do Final Fantasy 16 really quick before we go into 7-2 Rebirth. They'll show something, just like, hey, remember, this game's coming out in a few days and it looks awesome. Make sure to check it out. So I'd say like 90 to 100%, not 90 to 99%, that's going to be there. And then what they'll probably do is just like, hey, now's the perfect time to get into Final Fantasy franchise, because next year we got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming out, and here's just a little tease, a little bit of combat, or just a couple of cutscenes to remind you that this is when it's coming out. Mm-hmm. Stay tuned. So I'd say 65 to 70% chance that will be there. What do you think?
Oh yeah. No, we're definitely going to see this. It's been a long time in the making. They like to show off their stuff. I don't know if it'll be ready. I don't know if it'll be good, because that's one thing that you do have to worry about when it comes to some of these big titles. Yeah, is like sometimes they swing and they miss. But the last Final Fantasy didn't miss. The you know, they clearly have some, you know, really good momentum from their previous stuff. And they seem to be really passionate about this. And from the stuff that I've seen on it, it looks like they're really like, this is gearing up to be like pedal to the metal kind of awesome. So I think they'll at least show something for sure. You know, some people are like, they're not going to put out, you know, they're not going to have Death Stranding and Final Fantasy come out at the same time. Again, for those people, those are not the same game. They might visually look the same in some cases as far as like style and like models and how exactly they model stuff. You know, it's the same saying, you know, well, it looks kind of the same from Resident Evil, whatever. It's just similar tech. That's all it is. But those are not even remotely close to the same game.
Yeah.
Like, not even close. It's a completely different thing. It's a completely different assertion, Sad. Well, it's just chatter that I see. Okay. And it was the same chatter that a lot of people said about the Death Stranding when it was coming out. And I got in trouble for this because I said, look, Death Stranding is not what you think it is. It's not going to be this high, fast-paced super shooter where you're running around and you're just like boom, 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 and you're seeing all these great effects and these great story moments where it's like, you know, and then he picked up the moon and he chucked the moon at the planet and there was this giant explosion. It's like, you're not going to get that. This is a far more cerebral game. That's what he's designed it, you know, off of. It's what it's been that's his goal. That was his goal from the get-go. You know, it's not the same concept of this like fast-paced shooter. It's far more cerebral. And that's exactly what it was. And I got big crap for saying that.
And you were right. So,
and I was, dude, I was the first person. We said this about 6 months after the announcement for Death Stranding came out. I went on a podcast. It's on our channel. And I said, my contacts say that he wants to bring this to PC, period. He's going to bring this to PC. And I got so flamed. People were like, you dummy. It's the PC, PlayStation exclusive. I'm like, nah, you just wait. You just wait. And then what did we get? We got it. We got it on PC. Not only did we get it on, I think we got it. It was same day release, wasn't it? Or
yeah.
like, yeah.
Well, what? No.
Oh, sorry.
Death Stranding PC was like 6 months afterwards.
Yeah, but it was like he'd been planning that for a long time to have that expansion there. Guys, and going forward, he wants that expansion there because he's smart. He knows the industry, and he knows that if you want to have, you know, a solid game product, you have got to launch it on more than just one platform. Yeah. It's like, especially when it's I have no idea how Nintendo does it. I really don't. I don't know how their investors aren't screaming at them to build multiple like avenues into other platforms. I really don't know. It's mental. Yeah. All
right. Moving on from that. Sorry, we just got to keep up the pace here.
Yeah,
Ghost of Tsushima 2. We all know that's coming. Like, they're not doing Infamous or Sly Cooper, from what I understand. We know Ghost of Tsushima 2 is coming. I'm all for it. It's my game of the year that it came out, 2020. I don't think it's the time yet. I give it another year before they start ramping up the marketing for this. Plus, you know, we heard this past week from Jeff Grubb, who's I think he works over at Giant Bomb, and he's been pretty reliable as far as leaks and information regarding this sort of stuff goes. And he said it's probably not going to show up, which is too bad, but it's fine. Just let Sucker Punch have all the time that they need to make the next game of the year, and I'll be fine with that. So I put the chances of it showing up at around 10%. Sounds about right. What do you think?
Yeah, a masterpiece game that needs a masterpiece of a follow-up. So, yeah, again, you'd be stupid to go, nah, we're just gonna sit on this for a little bit. It's like, what the no, don't be stupid. No, this needs to be out. So yeah, and I'm being exaggeratory, obviously. I think that the guys behind that, masterful game creators that really, really, really know their audience. 100%. These aren't dumb people. They're very brilliant. I would put them up there with Larian Studios. Larian's smart in that they realized how to make a wonderful game by utilizing their community, and these guys know exactly what they need to do to make this game. So 100%. I don't know if we're getting it this year for sure. I would say that there's a strong likelihood for it. As far as I mean a major announcement for it,
right?
Not a reveal. A reveal. Sorry, that's the word I'm looking for. A reveal. We're getting a reveal this year. Do I think that's most likely? I think that's very likely, but I don't think it's coming out this year. Like, it's probably like 2025. Like, just looking at like time frame, like maybe 2024, like fall, maybe 2024 fall. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, that sounds fair. All right. This next one is kind of a wild card for me. I really don't know what my opinion on this is. The Last of Us Factions. It's been announced. I think it was announced at Summer Games Fest last year, right? If I recall correctly.
I might be wrong.
Sorry?
I might be wrong, but I think so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we know it's in development, but back then we only saw concept art. And it's been I think next month it'll have been 3 years since Last of Us 2. And if I recall correctly, The Last of Us Part 2 was announced 3 years after The Last of Us 1 came out. So would they have something to show us? Maybe, if not gameplay, maybe like a cinematic, just to sort of give us a feel of what they're trying to go for this game?
That's the one thing that Naughty Dog has a lot of, is cinematic people, because they had to, because they they annoyed the general dev communities to the point where they had to go and hire a bunch of people from Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I suspect that that's going to continue to grow. Their visuals, as far as their pre-rendered cinematics and stuff like that, that's top notch for a reason.
Oh yeah.
And that's because, again, they chased off most of the dev community and forced them to hire Hollywoodites. So yeah. And that is a bit of a dig on that one. I will admit to that. That's a bit of a dig on my part. But yeah, I think seeing something from it, again, highly likely, because they want to convince, with all this stuff going on with Microsoft, PlayStation's best play right now is to convince you, the gamer, that the next 3 years on PlayStation is going to be absolutely phenomenal, and that you should really definitely not buy an Xbox. Because
Last of Us is hot right now, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's
yeah,
like Hansel. It's so hot right now.
Just like what?
Hansel.
Hansel?
You know, Hansel, the male model. He's so hot right now.
Okay. Why are you looking at male models? No. The Last of Us factions, yeah, what you just said there, Syb. I'm going to give it, it's going to be a coin toss for me. I'll probably lean on 51% it shows up in some capacity. Just to remind us, hey, PlayStation is all about The Last of Us, and this is coming out, so you're going to want to stay tuned. So yeah, I'd say, yeah, they're going to have something there. Now, halfway through the list, this is the big one. Going back to what Metal Gear. I'm biggest Metal Gear fan on the planet, and there have been rumors, Syb. I did a video on this last Saturday.
I watched it.
Yeah. I am of the belief that a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake announcement is imminent, and it makes perfect sense for them to announce it now. Konami is they're trying to stage a comeback. They already did the Silent Hill stuff back last October, and they want to get back in people's good graces by bringing back Metal Gear, but also doing it in the most diplomatic way that they can, I believe. Mm-hmm. So, and plus all the rumors suggest that Virtuos, the people behind the Switch ports for Dark Souls and BioShock and all that, the rumors seem somewhat credible regarding that. They're the ones working on the MGS3 remake. I don't know. I'm gonna do it like what I did for Factions. I'm gonna do 51% likelihood that it shows up. Yeah. What do you think, Syb?
I think again, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, again, it all comes back to that idea that they really, 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 really want to assure their gamers, to assure their community that this is the company to put your money on for gaming, and not to, don't buy them Microsoft consoles, because you would be doing yourself a disservice. That's the kind of thing that I really, really think that they're gonna focus in on, and they're gonna say, yeah, this is what's happening here. This is where you have to be at. And I think that's a smart move, because they need to, like, if this deal goes through, man, with ABK and all the stuff that's coming out from it, we're going to see some pretty stiff competition. And you'd be a fool to not, like, plan that out ahead of time, right? Like, yeah. You'd be insane not to plan that out ahead of time, going, no, we're gonna force this. We're gonna make this the issue. This is gonna be the biggest, most important, summer games showcase ever. Yeah. Because if we lose our footing here in this moment, things are not going to go well, and that's highly true. Okay. Like, they have to make sure that they're doing well on this. If they don't, then they're up a creek without a paddle.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've sort of been going back and forth about that all night, but what you just said, and just just running through all the rumors in my head, I'm going to stick with my prediction. All right, let's go through these a little bit more fast. Like we're going to go more over time, but it's a big deal. So PS5 Pro. Let's be specific about what I mean by that. Upgrade to the PS5, like what PS4 got back in the day. I'm thinking a 120 frames per second capability. What else? Would they go 8K? I don't know. Is it time for 8K?
No, I don't think it's time for 8K. Well, there are already games that have amazing 8K graphics. Skyrim being one of them.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not joking. There's 8K mods for Skyrim, and they're beautiful, but they are a pain in the butt for developers. And I think the developers they're going to try, and smart developers will try to steer clear for at least a time. They don't want to double down on this yet. They want to wait until some more of that tech, the more high fiber that's put in for communication and all that kind of stuff, the better that is, like the higher likelihood that it's going to actually work out for them. Yeah. Whereas I don't know if that'll work out currently as is or not yet. For like trying to like double down on that, and that's really what the problem that we had with the game streaming is like it's this weird thing where you're marketing it to a handful of people that don't need it, and those are the only people who can use it. So it's like, well, why are you doing this? This makes no sense at all. So yeah, odd, little bizarre.
Sorry, I totally muted my mic. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it's time for 8K yet. That it will come when the PS6 comes out, absolutely, and same with the Xbox's new console when that comes out. But now, I think people would just be content being able to have the capacity for 120 frames on performance mode, 60 frames for 60 frames for quality mode. Right. Yeah. I'd be happy with that. Bigger storage, smaller size. Yeah. That sounds about right. Maybe they don't announce it proper. Maybe they'll do something like what I think Xbox did once when they're talking about the next evolution of their console. So they'll just call it Project So-and-so, even though we all know it's going to be called the PS5 Pro, and do something like that. That's what I'm thinking. Next, Rise of the Ronin. That's the game being made by the Team Ninja guys. They came out with Wolong this past year, which I really, really enjoyed. And Rise of the Ronin looks to be the next evolution of that type of gameplay, and it looks great. I'm going to say 65% that it shows up. What do you think?
I think it might be too early for this one. I'm not sure. I kind of have the feeling that we might not see this one, but that's just gut feeling. That's not. I haven't had a chance to really dig deep into the studio. One of the best ways to dig deep into studios is you go to a bunch of their LinkedIn stuff. You go to a bunch of their recruiting pages. You see where they're at for recruiting. If they're recruiting, finishing people, then you can say, oh yeah, they're definitely going to be showing it off sometime this year. But if they're recruiting like core engine people, and that's all they're recruiting, it's like, no, they're still probably like 2-3 years away from completion. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I don't know. Maybe going back on it, maybe it might be like a 50 or 40 for me, because like they have so many other things to get to, and they are going to show indies, and I have been giving likelihoods to high likelihoods to a lot of these. So yeah, I'll back off on that a little bit. All right, Silent Hill 2 remake. Oh my god! Like, do people really care about Layers of Fear? Let's just get this one out for Christ's sake. Can you tell that I care about Silent Hill? If you listen to the show for a long period of time. I I'd hope they'd show at least like a minute or something just to remind people that it's coming. Like they don't have to say, I don't know, maybe they just say like early 2024 or late 2023, and that'd be fine, and that'd just take up a minute. So, but that's the same side of me talking. I don't know, Syb. I give it a greater likelihood than Metal Gear showing up because, you know, it's already announced. So let's say, yeah, I feel more confident giving this one a 65 to 70% chance because it is timed exclusive as well. What do you think?
Probably, yeah. I think this one's a little bit more likely.
Yeah. All right.
Just because again, same reasons as before. They really need to show a super strong showing and go, we are here. And this is one of their like pillar products, I think.
Yeah.
Rowan is not nearly as much of a pinnacle as this one is. This one's like they have got to wow the floor with this.
Yeah. And survival horror is hot right now, man.
Yeah, it really is. And if they can just really nail it down, then it's even better.
Okay. And now for the only 100% certainty that it's going to show up on this list, Spider-Man 2. It's coming out in fall. We know that. It's about time. They're gonna have a huge session on it.
Yeah. They're gonna be showing it off, talking up a storm about how great it is and how awesome it is, and you know, and they're not going to make a peek about how, you know, it's not coming to the Xbox because, you know, that would kind of invalidate a bunch of their arguments on the other thing.
Wait, what do you mean? Like, you've heard that's coming to the Xbox?
No. That it's for sure not.
Oh,
okay. For sure not coming to the Xbox. Therefore, you shouldn't buy an Xbox. That's what I've been saying.
Right. Yeah. That's the centerpiece thing. The first Spider-Man game from Insomniac absolutely killed it. I have no doubt that this one is going to kill it as well, especially if they include a co-op with Miles Morales. That would be amazing. God, Syb, I cannot wait for this game. It's my 4th most anticipated game of the year, behind Starfield, Alan Wake 2, and Hogwarts Legacy. And Wednesday cannot come soon enough so I can see more from this game. Okay, 2 more. Stellar Blade. Yeah, it'll be there. Like, Stellar Blade has reliably shown up at a lot of the major showcases that PlayStation has done, and it would be weird if they didn't show at least something. So I put Stellar Blade at like 80 or 90%. What do you think?
No, I think, yeah, it's one of those titles where it's like, I'm interested in it. I'm hoping that we're going to see it. It makes sense because so far they don't have that much like high. Stellar Blade is like high sci-fi, right? Like it's not medium sci-fi; it's like high sci-fi. Yeah, that's a title that they definitely want on the lineup. So I think this one will probably be at the showcase, or it'll probably get a good trailer for it. Because if you have a showcase that's nothing but like modern day / like fantasy stuff, you're not gonna kick off as much. Now, obviously they've got Armored Core coming out and some other stuff too. So, but it's like they want that primo exclusive, and I think that's probably where this one fits in.
Hopefully,
so it makes sense to me.
Yeah, it looks good, and it seems to be the first along in development. If it's not here at this showcase, it definitely will be at Summer Games Fest, which we know PlayStation is participating in to some respect, and that goes for all the other games. And finally, this is the biggest wild card for me. Wolverine. It was announced like 2 years ago, right?
Oh yeah, it's a good one. It's a very good question.
I'm hella excited for it, but is it time to show it now? Like when they want all the focus to be on Spider-Man 2?
Yes and no. Spider-Man and Wolverine do go hand in hand, and they are very good at crossing over those two things. It's one of the things that I always kind of look at is like Wolverine really, really honestly does like fit well with Spider-Man, and that again, it's like you'd have to be stupid not to do at least some kind of a bit of a crossover.
They'll do crossover. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And again, so it's like I don't know if we'll get it like obviously we're not going to get it this year. I think that's highly unlikely.
No.
But I do believe that they will want to like chat it up if they have the possibility to do so. I think that would be a priority again, because you'd have to be a fool not to. And that's again, it's like so much of the design, so much of the concept behind this stuff is like, it's like, think about what you would do in the same, in their same position. And that's probably one of the biggest things that I would consider.
Yeah.
Like, I would consider that very strongly. Like it just makes so much sense to just have this big thing come out and do that.
I would say, so we haven't seen, aside from the one trailer, if I'm not mistaken, we haven't seen anything else from Spider-Man 2. Insomniac has earned the right to showcase the game
in their choosing,
when they want to, how they want to. I don't think Wolverine is there yet. I think they want it to be like this big thing that wows everybody, because everybody knows Wolverine, everybody loves Wolverine. Just keep the focus on Spider-Man 2. Now, I don't know, maybe the woman or whoever is hosting this is going to say, and stay tuned for Wolverine coming out soon. But I don't think they're going to show anything. But yeah, that's my guess. As Wolverine showing up, I give it 20% chance.
I think that if we do not see, so we're going to see a bunch of stuff for Spider-Man. Obviously, they're going to be like, this is a, get hyped, hook the copium to my veins, that kind of stuff, right? I think that they're going to do that. And then if we do not see a Wolverine trailer immediately show up after that one, then obviously it's not showing up at all in the thing this year, and it'll come out next year. Kind of like an update will come up next year. Again, it won't come out next year. Like it could come out next year, but I'm talking about trailers.
Right. Insomniac, take all the time you guys need. I absolutely adore the hell
make it
out
right.
of you. You're sorry?
Yeah, make it right.
Yeah, make it right.
Please just make it right. That's all we care about.
And I have no doubt that you will, because you guys have yet to disappoint me with anything. So that's it, guys. Those are all the major games that we and things that we are sort of expecting to happen at the showcase. There'll obviously be indie games and stuff like that we haven't mentioned, but we can't really predict for that. These are just the major titles. Yeah, it's looking to be huge. The rumors seem to, I think somebody said that this is going to, I think the phrase that I saw somebody use on Twitter is that it's going to bust your balls or something, or grab you. But okay, I can't say that type of language on the show, but you get the point. It's looking to be big. We're going to be covering it here on the Triple S League. I'm going to be covering it over on my main channel, especially if Metal Gear or Silent Hill shows up. And yeah, it's going to be a big week, and it's going to be a big few weeks. So with all that done, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Maximum News Show. Let us know if you have any thoughts on any of the subjects that we covered, especially on the PlayStation Showcase. Are there any games that we forgot to mention that you think are going to show up? I think, come to think of it, we missed something in regards to Mortal Kombat. But I don't care about fighting games. I'm sorry. But more power to you if you do. Just let us know in the comment section. Make sure you hit that like button. That helps us out a lot. Syb, do you want to tell people about the Triple S League real quick?
Yeah, check out the Triple S League. We've got guides and a bunch of commentary on video games, the video game industry, and check out our AI Plays channel. All of these channels are linked from our channel library on our YouTube channel. We've got a bunch of stuff there that we're really trying to push, and we've got some great discussions on AI coming very, very soon. We were going to have more podcasts and stuff like that pumping out. But yeah, so just stay tuned for that. We've got some cool stuff coming.
Nice. And you guys could just find me on my main channel, just at Max Derrat. I'll put links to my main channel and the main Triple S League channel in the description box below. All right. That's it, guys. Peace out. Stay yellow. Bye-bye.
Bye.